So in today's cheeky markets, just as usual, I will do a Bitcoin technical analysis and I'm gonna highlight the potential bullish outcome which would lead to 10k. I'm also gonna be talking about the contrarian view because this actually tells us that there's still a chance to retrace and potentially head back down to 6,000. A lot of people have been asking if we are actually getting an altcoin cycle. I would like to give out my analysis on this by using the Bitcoin dominance charts and also the coin market cap. Finally, in the news sections, we have the Binance ETF delayed once again, we have true adoption news with AT&T, and we have some really bad news regarding Bitcoin Cash and a 51% attack. So if you're curious about it, just chill and keep watching. Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, and this is your host, the Cheeky Entrepreneur. So first of all, I would like to talk about the bullish perspective, and I think this has demonstrated that on the macroeconomic level we're seeing a very bullish Bitcoin. So I want to highlight some of the signals that we're seeing here for the bullish side. First of all, most people would have already talked about this. I actually talked about this in my last video. It's the potential ascending triangle that we see over here, and we have seen that the price has gone up, find resistance, find support at this line, find resistance, find support, and now we are potentially on the way back up. And again, if we actually can break this pattern to the upside, that potential target price for this breakout would be something similar to this. So if we compute it and we put this line around the breakout area, we would see it could potentially go near 10k, which is the reason why I mentioned in the last video that we could actually go all the way there. Now, another thing that I would like to mention for the bullish case in this scenario is the stochastic. We are seeing that the stochastics are pretty much oversold right now, and this gives the potential to actually go to the upside. Well, in any case guys, this wouldn't be a complete analysis if we don't actually take a look at the other side of the coin. And for instance here, even though that I think there's a lot of bullish signals, first of all we have to check out the volume. We have seen a lot of volume lately, and a very good increase, which marks that this was actually very bullish movement. But now we are seeing that it looks like the momentum is finally over, and of course this could be normal because we saw such a parabolic move to the upside, and we could actually still pick up the volume. That's a possibility, but we also have to take into consideration that after a lot amount of movement, after lots of volumes, normally that's where you would find a reversal point. So that's only something that you need to take into consideration. Now, another very interesting topic that I would like to discuss is that if we go to Bitmex, you will know that there is this funding rates, and what this basically means is that sometimes shorts will pay longs and sometimes longs will pay shorts. And now I want to put some highlight into this because in the past few days, whenever we were at low prices, the funding rate paying the longs, meaning that the shorts pay the longs, was just crazy, ludicrous. It was around 0.06% all the way to almost even 0.1%, and that's where all these pumps went into. And now that we're seeing that the price is actually at this resistance, now I'm seeing the opposite. Now the funding rates are around right now 0.06, almost 0.07% to the downside, and even in the next 10 hours it looks like it's gonna be around 0.05%. You could always put a hedge around here. If the price goes up, you can trigger one of the future contracts to the upside, so you wouldn't be taken out of the market, but still you would be earning this kind of dividends in this case. And I think that's just ludicrous, and I know this is the contrarian view, and that's why I want to highlight this potential of going to the downside. I'm actually currently holding some shorts, and I've been profiting more from holding those shorts than from the price movement. So there is basically some fundamentals, some structures to support the bearish scenario. Well, now that we are over with the Bitcoin technical analysis, I actually want to talk about the possibility of an altcoin cycle, and I think this is a very hot topic right now. A lot of people are wondering when are we actually gonna see this. And first of all, I want to head into the Bitcoin dominance charts, and again, just as usual, even in the coin market cap, this is not a very accurate measure of what the Bitcoin dominance is, but it actually gives us an idea of where the price might go or where the dominance might go in this scenario. So the things that I want to highlight is that there's two major let's say thresholds in here. First of all is this 60 line, 60% Bitcoin dominance, which we see it's very strong, and the other one is actually around the 48% of Bitcoin dominance. In between, yes, we have the 52%, but I'm gonna be talking more about that in a second. So we have seen that we have had a strong resistance around this 60 level we see in there. We also see around here another huge resistance, and we see that even though we almost broke the 60% of Bitcoin dominance to the upside, it looks like it was mostly a fake out, and now the price has gone actually down and it's retesting this level once again. Now if we take a broader look at what's happening, we also see this ascending line, this trend line over here, and we see we have found support once in there, we have found support twice in there, and now we have found support 3 times in there. So it's a very strong momentum to the upside, which actually might lead to Bitcoin actually gaining more dominance in the near future. So now I see two things for this altcoin cycle. Either we are actually gonna have it, or we're gonna have to wait a little bit more and altcoins will actually bleed. So in this case, we could see something very similar to an ascending triangle. It's not really an ascending triangle, but it looks like it could be very let's say bullish for the Bitcoin dominance. And if we just compute this, this would be around 20%, 20 points with a breakout to the upside. Potentially we could go all the way to the 80%. I highly doubt this is gonna be the case, because a lot of the altcoins are gaining some momentum. They are basically earning some good reputation, which is good. So I highly doubt that it could be the case. But now let's see what's the opposite, the actual altcoin cycle. And we see that in the following days we might be constrained by this area around here, while this Bitcoin dominance actually consolidates. Now one of the first signals that we might have an altcoin run or an altcoin cycle is that if the dominance drops to this line, to the support here, and if it actually breaks down, I think there's the possibility of not only gonna test the 52% Bitcoin dominance, but we could go all the way down to the 50 or even to the 48% Bitcoin dominance, which means of course that the altcoins would earn a lot in this scenario. So I just want to complete this analysis. Actually, if we take a look at the total coin market cap including Bitcoin, we see a very familiar picture to the price in Bitcoin. But actually, if you think about it, this could indicate that we're not actually over with this bear market. And now I understand why this might sound confusing. I'm not saying that we're in a bearish market anymore, but if we take a look at the total market cap, we see that we have found a strong support around this level, where you might think it's the 6K level, the 6,000 threshold, which we already actually overpassed in Bitcoin. But we see that for the total market cap, we are still testing this important resistance level, and that could actually mean that potentially we could retrace back down. If we can't actually break to the upside, we could potentially retrace back down to this 180 billion mark around here. And of course, if that happens, we would see not only Bitcoin going down, but we could see all the altcoins split against once more. And now I'm not saying that this is something that's gonna happen. I'm just stipulating that this is an actual possibility, and with this huge momentum to the upside, there is still a room for a correction. I know that a lot of people don't believe this, and I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but there's still the opportunity for that. And just finally, I want to head to the total coin market cap excluding Bitcoin, and we see that there is a kind of like a similar situation where we have a strong resistance in that area. There is a resistance box as I marked, and we have seen that even the altcoins have tried to push up to this level, but they are finding a strong, very strong resistance. And I also marked this potential channel where the price of the altcoins have gone up, down, up, test that resistance, down, test this support, and now are testing this resistance once again. And it really looks like this would give a lot of problems to these altcoins and potentially could head back down to try and find some support to this line. And let's see if they can actually break to the upside, because this could actually lead to some huge gains if everything accommodates, not only for Bitcoin but also for the altcoins. So let's jump into today's news section. The US SEC postpones verdict on Binance ETF application again. And if we read what they had to say about this, the National Security Exchange is to be designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices, to promote just and equitable principles of trade, and to protect investors and the public interest. And of course, you can understand where the SEC comes from. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general are a very thin market. It's a very liquid market, thus a lot of people who have the investment power, they can actually manipulate it. To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if they delay it until they cannot do it again, because it's a very difficult decision to make. I personally don't like the idea of an ETF, and the reason is because most of the people right now, they're probably not investing in Bitcoin, and even if they put some amount, probably it would be around $1,000, maybe 10,000 if they're really keen into this. But again, if you compare those type of investments against these huge whales or these huge people with a lot of investment power, actually it takes a hit of that decentralization, because in the end they're gonna be able to really manipulate the market. And I know that a lot of people don't like this word manipulation, but even in normal markets there are these entities called market makers, which basically dictate the price. This could really happen as well on Bitcoin. So second news, US telecoms giant AT&T now accepting crypto payments via BitPay. United States telecom and media giant AT&T now accepting cryptocurrency for paying phone bills online. AT&T will process bills paid in cryptocurrency using crypto payments platform BitPay. And this is the kind of news that I love to hear. True adoption is on its way. Little by little, we're seeing that more companies are getting their feet wet into the industry, into the cryptocurrency environment as well. And I'm really interested in hearing your opinion. I've discussed with some of you guys. Some have told me that you don't want to really spend your Bitcoin. You see this more as an investment vehicle and you would like to hold until it actually yields some more. But I've also heard some of you guys, including myself, that we would be keen on actually spending our Bitcoin right now because we really want to see true adoption. So please let me down in the comments, what do you think? Would you actually like to spend your Bitcoin, or would you like to hold for the long haul? And in another news, two miners purportedly execute 51% attack on Bitcoin Cash blockchain. According to Swan, two miners with majority control of the network, BTC.top and BTC.com, performed an attack in an effort to stop an unknown miner from taking coins that were sent to an anyone can spend address following the original hard fork in May 2017. And now, even though this kind of attack was used for a good purpose, I cannot avoid to see this is the problem with hard forks. Blockchain, and more specifically Bitcoin, is supposed to be immutable. You're not supposed to be able to change the ledger because it's supposed to be there, and that's it. That's what happens. And you heard there was a lot of backlash where CC said that they might try to restructure the blockchain just to avoid the hack when the Binance was hacked. And you see that there was a lot of backlash. Of course, people were really mad of even CC proposing this, and this is again one of the reasons, because Bitcoin or cryptocurrency should be immutable. You should not be able to change, because we want to avoid these things that the old banking system is doing, where they can actually manipulate the money in whichever way that they want. And this is why Bitcoin Cash will not be the true Bitcoin, and it's not the true Bitcoin, because if this can happen at this level, you can only explain what true decentralization could look like, and this is not what it's gonna be. In any case, guys, I just want to finish the video with another rapid fire, so let's just head into it. Copyright restrictions do not recognize Craig Wright as Satoshi Nakamoto. I've talked about this before. If Craig Wright is the real Satoshi, he wouldn't even be bothered to try his best to get the name back. He did this because he truly believes in a revolution in the old traditional monetary system, as we can see in the white paper. So of course Craig Wright is not the real Satoshi, because he would not even fight this way just to get that name back and just coin the Satoshi Nakamoto name. Facebook in talks with Coinbase, Winklevoss Gemini to launch its global coin, and we have seen a lot of news regarding Facebook. I have talked about this before. They want to create this stable coin, and potentially if anyone can do it, it's gonna be Facebook with its reach and with its platform. Now it's not surprised that they're actually trying to get into some of the biggest and the giants in the industry, for instance Coinbase and now Gemini. Probably they want to put their stable coin in there, and we will have to wait and see what happens with this. And finally, Kraken paid 250 salaries to staff in Bitcoin last month, exchange tells critic. And if it were up to me, I would like to receive also my salary in Bitcoin. I think this is true adoption. I think this is where we're heading. I know that a lot of people are unsure about things like this because they say it's very volatile, but in reality what you could do is, as soon as you have your payment, you could extract whatever money you need for the month, or whatever money would suffice your following expenses, and then you would only dollar cost average your salary in any case, which in the long term would most likely benefit you. Well, in any case, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, and only if you did, mind subscribing and also like the video. If you are interested in supporting the channel, or you would like to see more of the content I have to offer, you can always take a look at the links down in the description. If you actually want to keep up with the news in real time, I'm actually gonna start developing this kind of news posts on Instagram. I usually put daily stories regarding what is happening in the industry, but I actually want to start posting some of the news that I'm gonna be talking about throughout the week. So basically, if you want to stay up to date, you can actually go and look at my Instagram at the Cheeky Entrepreneur for the latest news in real time. But in any case, guys, just as usual, I would like to remind you all, stay smart, stay bold, but most important of all, stay cheeky. Take care, guys.